The morning the letter changed everything began with a broken heater, a pile of overdue notices on the kitchen table, and a silence so heavy it felt like the air itself was tired of fighting. Eloise's heart stood in the doorway of her small apartment in Maple Harbor, staring at her reflection in the frosted window. Messy auburn hair, tired blue eyes, and the faintest tremble in her hands. She had spent the whole night thinking, rewriting, and questioning the same idea until dawn smudged the sky. But the ache in her chest hadn't eased. It was the ache of loneliness, of watching years slip by like pages torn from a book she no longer felt part of. So she folded the letter, sealed it with a shaky breath, and whispered to the universe, "If anyone's listening, please, let this reach the right hands. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and unexpected miracles, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Spark. Your support keeps these heartwarming stories alive." The letter wasn't meant for any real Santa. It was part of Maple Harbor's annual Letters of Hope charity event, a tradition where the town's mail office collected hundreds of letters addressed to Santa and delivered them to volunteers who donated gifts or support to families in need. Eloise had participated for years, usually writing silly, hopeful notes to uplift herself. But this year, she wrote something raw, something true. "Dear Santa, please send me a husband. Not for comfort, not for money, but for companionship, for someone to talk to, laugh with, and lean on. I'm tired of being alone." She didn't expect anyone to read it seriously. She definitely didn't imagine it traveling over 100 miles away to land on the pristine glass desk of a man who had everything, except the one thing she yearned for. Across the city skyline, in a towering glass building reflecting the morning sun, Silas Rowan, a reserved millionaire known for his brilliance in tech innovations, sat in his office, surrounded by the hum of success. His company, Rowan Dynamics, was thriving. His schedule was full. His bank accounts overflowed, yet his life felt unbearably empty. His mother had passed away 2 years earlier, his only real family, and since then the world had been quieter, colder. His assistant, Mason, had been sorting through corporate mail when he accidentally placed a bundle of charity letters onto Silas's desk, assuming it was part of his philanthropy review. Silas wouldn't have noticed, except the soft blue envelope with childish snowflake drawings caught his eye. Something about it felt out of place in the sterile room. When he opened the letter, expecting a toy request or festive wish, he felt something shift inside him. The handwriting was soft and hopeful, a little rushed but sincere. As he read Eloise's words about longing for companionship, waking up to silent mornings, and feeling invisible in a world that kept moving without her, Silas found himself unable to pull away. He read it again, then again. Something about her vulnerability echoed his own loneliness, the kind he hid behind polished suits and ambitious deadlines. He had everything, yet nothing truly mattered anymore. Her letter was the first thing in months that made his heart stir. That afternoon, instead of attending his scheduled investor meeting, Silas stepped outside into the crisp daylight and walked along the river path near his office. With every step, her words followed him. "I don't need perfection. I just want someone who sees me." He wondered what kind of person wrote such an honest plea to Santa of all people. What life had carved such quiet yearning into her heart? Without fully understanding why, he felt compelled to find her, not out of pity, but out of recognition, out of an instinctive pull he hadn't felt in years. Meanwhile, Eloise returned from her shift at the town bakery, dusted in flour and exhaustion. The day had been long, filled with holiday orders from people who would go home to families, partners, or warm lights in their windows. She loved her customers, but every cheerful couple or giggling child deepened the hollow inside her. She walked back into her apartment, greeted by familiar stillness, and told herself it was fine. It had been fine for years. She didn't know that somewhere far away, a man she had never met was already searching for her name. Silas spent hours contacting the Maple Harbor post office, explaining that he wished to respond personally as a donor. Through strict privacy protocols and many calls, he finally convinced them to let him send a letter back through the official charity route. He spent the night writing, rewriting, hesitating, and writing again. He kept his identity mostly hidden, signing only a friend of hope. But he asked her questions, shared small pieces of his loneliness, and told her her letter mattered. He mailed it the next morning with a strange flutter in his chest. When Eloise received the envelope 3 days later, she nearly dropped her mug of tea. She hadn't expected a reply at all. Sitting in the warm afternoon light by her window, she opened it gently. The words inside were kind, reflective, and thoughtful in a way she rarely encountered. The writer didn't mock her request. He didn't treat her plea with pity. Instead, he shared how her vulnerability had moved him, how loneliness wasn't weakness, and how hope could bloom in unexpected places. He encouraged her to write back if she felt comfortable. Her heart, usually guarded, felt a spark, small but alive. Over the next 2 weeks, they exchanged letters through the charity program, long, heartfelt notes written in the quiet hours of morning daylight or the soft glow of evening. Eloise found herself smiling at his insights,